Hi everyone and welcome back to our Monday live talks. Keep your comments and questions in the chat and keep them coming all the time as we are used to. So, is it really possible to have a stress-free life, or is that a myth? Is that utopia? Is that an unachievable dream, or is it really possible for us? How many of us have been complaining all the time to everyone that we're meeting how stressful life has become, how stressful life has become, how stressful work has become, how stressful relationships has become. This is the story of each and every conversation that we're having literally all week long, all month long, and especially when there are such huge events taking place in the world, such as COVID-19, such as online schooling, such as working remotely, and such as actually companies letting go of some of their staff. So what is stress, or how do I really know if I'm living a stressful life or not? Some of those symptoms, as you probably know already, is feeling burnt out, feeling that you're really drained, feeling that you're really in anxiety and worry constantly, all the time, all day long. Feeling deterioration in your health, starting to feel nausea, starting to feel colon problems, starting to actually feel breathing problems, starting to notice that your immunity is becoming very weak, you're becoming very pale. All of that are symptoms and actually signs that you're living a very stressful life. Okay. Busyness is one of the other very common symptoms that we actually find in our lives. Being busy, having 10 arms all around you, doing it hundreds of things at the same time, that's all kind of stress in our lives that we add on each other. So I want you to start imagining this example with me. You get a bottle of water and you hold it like this for a few seconds. Like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. How do you feel right now? Okay. Probably you're still okay, you're fine, it's doable, it's not that, okay? Imagine holding up that bottle like this for actually the next 10 minutes. How would that feel? Imagine yourself holding that bottle for 1 whole hour. How would that feel? Imagine yourself holding that bottle like this for the rest of the night until tomorrow morning. How would that feel? That's exactly the difference between pressure and stress. We all face pressures coming from a lot of circumstances, from a lot of people, from all our surroundings, all day long, all week long, and for the rest of our lives. And pressure is good. Stress is not good. The difference between pressure and stress is that stress is a prolonged pressure that is becoming consistent and there are no breaks out of it. Diamonds undergo pressure so that they're polished and shining. Poetry is the same. Pottery, I mean. Muscles, when you're exercising, it's exactly the same. You put pressure on your muscle, you carry some weight on, you grow your muscle, you extend it, you become stronger. Imagine yourself actually carrying excessive weight on your muscles. What happens? You tore a ligament, you actually get a muscle sore, you face all the bad consequences of that pressure. That's exactly what we want to be differentiating today. What's the difference between a pressure and what's the difference between stress? Stress is involuntary. I never choose stress. You never choose stress. Your colleagues, your family, they never choose the stress they face in their lives. But what happens when the pressure is continuous, there are no breaks, when the pressure, the size of it becomes too big that you can't handle it anymore, this is when you start feeling stressed. This is when you start seeing all the symptoms of anxiety, worry, health deterioration, burnt out, and all the other symptoms that we've talked about. So, why are we living a very stressful life in today's world? For several reasons. The first one is the world that we're living in today has become too complex. Our job requirements are excessive, they're intensive, and they're very advanced. Mentally, emotionally, and physically even. Okay, that's the first point. Our families are becoming, and relationships are becoming more complex. Because of everything that we're facing outside this relationship, we all bring that back to our relationships. And hence, relationships are becoming even more complex. You start making up assumptions about the other person. You start interpreting things just from your filters of stress or pressure that you are facing during your day. The other famous reason that we actually face stress for is the FOMO. Pretty sure you know what that is and you've heard that term before. It's the fear of missing out. I fear missing out on a certain outing or else I won't be popular. And therefore I need to be everywhere available all the time. I fear that I miss out on a certain promotion at work. That's why I need to be doing the extra mile 100% of the time. I need to be taking overload that is not mine. I need to be working excessive hours. I fear missing out on what's happening in the world or the fashion or everything. And therefore, I put a burden on myself and a financial stress on myself that I need to be up to date all the time. I need to be buying all the expensive brands. I need to be following the fashion all the time. I fear missing out on summer or vacation or certain trips. I expect from myself and I demand from myself to do every single thing just for the sake of social media or for the sake of being in a society or a certain circle or a certain group, and to not be neglected from that place. All of those factors cause more and more stress in our lives. Another thing is our autopilot habits. So for example, being addicted to your phone. With every single minute that you have, you're free, where you could be doing anything else, you automatically, what do? We find ourselves, all of us, turning back to our phones. Even if we're not really doing anything, even if we're not on social media, we're just scrolling our fingers up and down and not even reading or noticing what's being posted in front of us. That's our autopilot habit that does take a lot of our time, a lot of our schedule, a lot of our attention and focus as well. Another thing is self-expectations. Self-expectations that we have put for ourselves in all kinds of expectations, whether financially, mentally, career-wise, relationship-wise, family-wise, all those expectations and bars that we have set too high for ourselves. And sometimes we have set those expectations that high because of fear of society, because of the pressure of the people around us, because of peer pressure. And sometimes it's just coming from a place of ego. When it comes from a place of ego, it sounds something like that. I need to be doing that or this or that so that I'm good enough, so that I'm a successful person, because people expect that I've always been the top of the line, that I've been always in the front line. And therefore, all those expectations cause stress in my life. Well, how do they cause stress? It's because I put excessive effort, and sometimes it's more than I need and more than I'm actually essential and more than I'm actually capable of, just because I'm trying to live up to those expectations. So now that we've seen some of the factors that actually cause the stress in our lives, I want you to ask your question something. How many of the things that are actually causing you stress in your life, be it your job, be it your boss, be it a certain colleague, be it your wife or your husband, your kids, be it the financial demand and the economic crisis that we're in, be it anything, okay? And I want you to start asking yourself, do you have a role in increasing that stress in your life or not? Are you adding to the pressures that are coming from outside by having the fear of missing out, by having a very high self-expectations from yourself, by having your autopilot habits and you're wasting time and maybe resources as well, and by adding complexity that is unnecessary to your life, to your job, and to your family and your relationships? When you start realizing that there are things in our control and there are things that are outside our control, this is when you're going to start to be able to change things in your life. This is when you're going to start to be able to actually limit the stress in your life. We're not saying that we're going to eradicate pressure from our lives from all the different areas at once, because that's unrealistic. We need pressure for our growth. We need pressure for our learning and development. We need pressure because sometimes that actually challenges us and brings out the best out of us. But what we don't need and what we don't want is the continuous pressure for 24/7 for the rest of our lives, every single day, in every single aspect. Because then we pay a price. We pay a price for the stress in our health. We pay a price for our mental health, physical health, and emotional health. We pay the price of, a lot of studies have shown that immunity decreases with stress. The chances of getting cancer increases with stress. Death rates increase with stress. So the liability to live a very shorter life, an unhealthy life, face a lot of more problems that will just keep adding to your stress in your lives, is being caused by stress. A lot of doctors that you go and see today, what they tell you is, you're very stressed, you need a break. You're very stressed, you need to start taking care of yourself better. You're very stressed, you need to replan your life and see what's causing you that stress and eradicate that source. I guarantee you, I'm not promising you a life with no pressure. Pressures are going to be there. But pressures come in phases. They're not there all the time. Pressures come to serve you, to serve a purpose. They're not there to kill you or make you even weaker. So, what are we going to do to decrease the stress in our lives? As we said, start noticing what are you adding to increase the weight of the stress on your lives. Second step, you'd be very surprised and might feel very that it's actually a cliche, but it's not. It's self-care. Self-care is very important, and it's the number one step if you really want to start planning a stress-free life. What do I mean by self-care? It's not pampering yourself for spending the rest of your life at the spa. That's not what I mean. Self-care is the basic attention and effort and care that you need to be giving for yourself, because you're asking too much of yourself. You're asking productivity, you're asking happiness, you're asking well-being, you're asking a lot of other stuff. What are you feeding, or how are you nurturing yourself in order to balance that out, in order not to be burnt out, in order not to be stressed all the time and living from a place of anxiety? Some examples of self-care is adequate amounts of sleep. Have daily 8 hours of sleep. We're not asking you to spend the rest of the day in your beds, but at least have your 8 hours. Look it up, search it. See the impact of adequate sleep on you. See the impact of not enough sleep on you, and how that impacts the nervous system, the immunity system, and your mental focus as well. Have a good diet, a nutritious and a healthy diet that has all nutrients. So many nutrients are very important for you, for your brains, for your health, to be able to actually keep up and reach the results that you want to be reaching in your life. You need all those nutrients. Even if you want to have an ice cream or a Nutella or a crepe or whatever it is every now and then, it's okay, you could have that. But make sure your diet is not based on junk food and sugars all day long. Search the impact of that. Start becoming aware of what you are really doing to your bodies and yourself. Exercise, even walk if you're not a sports person. Just that movement exerts a lot of hormones that are actually helpful for you. Helpful for you when you're dealing with the stress and the pressures around. Drinking enough water. A lot of us don't realize the impact and how much water is actually useful and beneficial in our lives. Drink enough water. Water equalizes the pressure in our body. Water helps us to focus. Water actually helps the blood pressure as well. Balance the caffeine and the alcohol intake that you're having. Too much caffeine is actually very bad to yourself. So if you're having a long day and you're just drinking coffee, you're not drinking enough water, you're not eating enough, and you're not sleeping enough, and you're depending on caffeine, whether coffee, Red Bull, and all of those things to make you up and awake and productive, you're actually not helping yourself. You're not helping your brains, and you're not helping your cells. Breathe, breathe, breathe. It's very simple, but the amount of oxygen you take in and the amount of carbon dioxide you exert out really helps you with dealing with stress. A lot of mindfulness activities and exercises do not have to look as like a 30 minutes in silence doing yoga or meditation every day. It could be just like a minute where you're actually breathing properly, where you're actually being very conscious and aware how much oxygen you're giving yourself, how much you're reassuring yourself and grounding yourself through mindfulness exercises or breathing exercise. Of course, mindfulness and yoga exercises help you to focus, help your brain to focus, helps your brain to be in the present moment instead of living in the past or the future, which usually causes us even more stress. Get things out on paper. Getting things out of paper actually helps your mind. Our minds are cluttered with so many things, so many to-do lists, so many mental clutters, a lot of stuff. There is science and there is therapy when you put those things out on paper, and literally out on paper. So if you have 100 of stuff that you need to be doing, instead of reminding yourself all the day what you need to be remembering, put it on a paper. Relax. You don't have to be carrying that weight all day long. At least it's there, and what you need to be doing, go back to that piece of paper and get the thing done, instead of going back, getting the things done and worrying that you would forget about the things getting done. Another thing, if you're emotionally drained or emotionally busy, journaling does magic. Just putting those emotions out on paper gives you clarity, gives you relaxation, gives you an internal breath. You don't have to follow a certain ritual when journaling. It's just kind of like taking that clutter inside of you and putting it out there. Try it and see the impact of it. All those were examples of self-care. Another very important thing that you need to be conscious of, so that you actually start decreasing the stress in your life, is setting very clear boundaries. Setting boundaries and learning how to say no and what to say no to, who to say no to. A lot of times we actually want to say no, we have to say no, or we should say no because it's better for ourselves, and we don't. It could be fear of missing out. It could be the self-expectations I'm putting for myself. It could be peer pressure. Whatever it is, learn to say no when you need to. Prioritize yourself and your well-being. Make sure you're nurturing yourself so that you're able to deal with that stress that you're facing in your life. The second thing is building boundaries for your negativity, for your doubts, for your fears. Building your self-confidence. That will help you to say no more. That will help you to sustain your grounds and to take charge of your lives and to be living the things that you want to do, and not fear missing out, and not fear the peer pressure, and not ask of yourself too high expectations that are unrealistic and they're just doing you harm and adding stress to yourself. The last thing, take charge of your life. Take charge of your day. Don't just go around walking based on what the circumstances bring for you. Don't just go around based on what others ask of you. Prioritize yourself. Ask yourself, pause, plan, and take charge of your day. Those are very simple and very achievable, and anyone can do. Tips and habits for how to deal with the stress and how to have a stress-free life. They only work when you actually put them into practice. So I encourage you again and again, just like every week. If you don't put those things into practice, don't complain that they don't work. Don't complain that this is actually not useful. You know right now that there is pressure that's coming from the outside, and there's pressure that's coming from you, based on all the reasons that we've said. If you've just joined and if you've missed out the beginning of this talk, check out the recorded session, And it was a pleasure. And if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them right now. And if not, I'll see you in the comments and in the page. Thank you very much, and aim for a stress-free life. You deserve that. Your health deserves that, and yourself deserves that. Have a great evening, everyone.